the good news about it is when that's happening with your client, they are not freaking out. They are not looking at it and hitting you up thinking, bro, I need that. You know what they're thinking now? They're looking at it like,
I need $500.
Yeah. And they're thinking, oh my God, he was right. They're not freaking out. Why? Because you told me this would happen.
Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Hip here, coming to you with another episode of the Tattoo Guardians podcast. And we are one member short. Josh is recharging and resting. So it's going to be me and Mr. Clarence tonight. And do you give free touch-ups? Because if you do, you may want to keep listening. We might change your mind on that and give you some insight. So stay tuned for the next episode of the Tattoo Guardians podcast. Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Peh coming to you today with my co-defendant, Tatam. Haj is resting up. Hasaj.
Cool. So he's attempting to say our names backwards.
Well, I got 2 out of 3.
You did.
Yeah.
Peh. Tatam.
Yeah.
And Josh backwards.
Yeah.
Brothers and sisters, thank you for joining us every single week. You got me and Hip this week. Please keep our brother, Mr. Carlton, in your heart, in your prayer, sending good vibes. Agree with us that man is happy, healthy, whole, and thriving. And today, he's put his body back on the charger. To be honest, he's struggling today. It's a rough one. Now, every day he faces a certain struggle. Every time you hear Mr. Carlton on this podcast with us, it's because he's pressing in. I can't tell you how many times, whatever, we had to pause the show. He's getting sick, throwing up, whatever. But his heart for this mission is unmatched. And so he's here every time in spirit and most of the times in the flesh. And if and when he's not, it's because he's in rough waters at the moment. Mm-hmm. So please keep him in your prayers, in your thoughts. Send him good energy with us.
We love you, Josh.
Yes, we do. So today, Hip and I just decided to bring some practical business advice to you today and lessons that we've learned along the way to impart into you. And today's a fun one because we're going to talk about a conversation all around this thing, this narrative, this framework of thinking that most tattoo artists and clients across the globe call touch-ups, right? And most of you might think well, this ain't really a big deal. Oh, you just wait, because it could be life-changing to you, your energy, and your bank account. Let's first talk about the definition of touch-ups as we know them, right? And I don't know about you, Hip, but we both came up in the game separately before we joined together. I came up in a house where touch-ups were a thing. It was normal. At the end of every tattoo, I would watch guys as they're wrapping them up, thanking the client, ringing them up, sending them out the door, and be like, hey, let me know, after that heals if you need any touch-ups, right?
Yeah, me too.
Was that the same way they operated in your camp? Mm-hmm. Everyone said that. Everyone offered and did touch-ups.
Yep.
And the camp I was in, everyone did touch-ups for free. What about you?
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure it's still common in our industry.
Yep.
Under the sound of our voice right now, if you're in a tattoo shop, you're a tattoo artist. If you're a client, your idea, framework thinking around this topic, touch-ups, is that A, they're free, and B, that if you need one, just hit your artist up to go ahead and schedule that free tee-up, touch-up, right?
Mm-hmm. And who isn't going to do that because it's free? Well, fucking why not? Everybody wants to go underneath the needle.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And well, you've opened up a Pandora's box, and I just had a brain fart on one common thing that I was going to go into. But, so with me, I sucked you know, like a lot of us do when we first start tattooing.
Yep.
And it was almost like projecting my insecurities and doubt and lack that my work was going to heal right, which there were some times that it was my fault, you know.
That's
but
right.
when we're dealing with the skin, there's so many variables that could play into it. Like I remember years ago before we started working together, you know, the sun is the enemy. Don't go out on the beach and fucking swim in the ocean when you get a fresh tattoo. And I was friends with a particular client. I gave her a tattoo and that same advice. Only to be on social media that week and see her having the time of her life at Springs Break down in Florida. Only to hit me up when she got back, like, I think I'm going to need a touch up. And I was like, well, that's crazy because I've been watching you like enjoying yourself out on the beach and swimming in the ocean with a fresh tattoo. And now, you know, because I've stuck my foot in my mouth telling you that, you know, hit me up if you need a touch up, I'm almost obligated now to slave away and take part of some time of my schedule to fit you in for some bullshit that you did. But again, like I was saying, like there are times where, you know, because if you're a tattoo artist and you've been doing this for a few years, like, you know, if you've overworked something. Now there's been times where I've overworked something and hopefully, like, I'm not going to tell the client that, of course, but, you know, send it away and maybe it doesn't fucking heal like shit. And there's been times where it hasn't healed like shit. But more so, there's times that, like, yeah, I can totally see that that's my fault.
Yep. Absolutely.
So, like, there's a lot of variables. But, yeah, that was just one of the little tidbits.
That's right. And if we're talking about, if you're going to use the word variables on what even is a viable candidate for a touch-up, who needs a touch-up. We're saying this word too much already.
Yeah.
I've just said the words touch-up more times on this episode than what I have in fucking a year.
Let's get one more, though.
Oh, we will. So, guys, there's 1,000 reasons under the sun why someone could need another coat of paint, the things addressed. We're here to help give you breakthrough in this actual conversation. And we're here first to suggest to you to remove the words touch up from your vocabulary. Every tattoo artist out there, remove the words touch up from your vocabulary. Good news, we got a better replacement for you, which is simply using the term follow up. And we're going to break down the huge difference and how to present yourself to your client, and a huge difference between free touch-ups, working for free, your client's almost acting like you their bitch, you fucked up, you didn't do something right, you didn't apply it right, so now you need to fix your shit for free. You owe me, right? Mm-hmm. That's the setup for the entitlement of a client, and it's all devalue, broken, something's not working, something's not great, it didn't turn out great, here's this spot and here's this spot, fix it, right? We're here to save you from living in that land ever again. Now that doesn't, and so we don't do touch-ups, like never. I'll never do another touch-up again. But we do follow-ups
Right.
all the time. Now, Hip was starting to touch on it. There's 1,000 reasons why someone could need, and the tattoos often need, a follow-up session. And you know what? Right now, I just got to give credit where credit is due, because what I'm about to teach you all right now, I learned and was taught this initial framework of thinking from the great Mr. Jeff Goldway. And I'll never forget, I was at the London Tattoo Jam, and it was me and Kyle Cotterman, and we were kicking it. Went to Goldway's seminar, kicked it with him, and he's the first person to help me make this shift. Well, this was over a decade ago, so made the shift, learned from him. I've been applying this for 10 years plus before we ever had the audacity to come on this show and tell you about it, right? And you're big on experience. So today we're sharing with our listeners from experience. Over 10 years of switching from doing free touch-ups to now being the follow-up kings, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what's that look like? Now, even their clients, it's such a universal language, even your clients will hit you up, will hit me up and use the words tee up, touch ups, and we don't engage or re-say that. We will immediately follow up with the words follow-up session. Well, now our clients don't ask for touch-ups. Why? Because we inform them way before it's time on what a follow-up is, right? So here's the difference. Again, touch-ups imply that you didn't do something right. Now, we know there are times where we don't do it right. You brought up overworking. There's tons of times where we didn't saturate enough. There are times on our own where, yes, it's on us.
Mm-hmm.
But there are so many times where it's not. Again, the mystery to this, to people's, their skin, their DNA, the melatonin, all of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Their DNA is a big one. There's so many reasons why someone could need another pass on their tattoo, and it may have nothing to do with you as an artist. You guys know what it's like. You can sit 5 people down, give them all the same tattoos, but this one may heal different than this one. Your application was the exact same. What was different? The canvas, the client, their skin. There's still a lot of mystery to this beautiful craft that we call tattooing, right? And even how skin will heal it, hold the ink or not. There's a lot of variables that are outside of our control, correct?
Correct.
And so it doesn't mean anytime someone needs another pass, a follow-up on their piece, doesn't have to come from a place of brokenness and you fucked up and need to fix it and you owe them one for free. But I remember guys in my camp would do this so often that they would stack up their touch-up clients and book them all in like 1 or 2 days and just have an all-day marathon of touch-ups. They're tattooing all day, however many clients they will take that day, and did it all for free, right? But again, they set their future self up that way because on the day of the tattoo, when they are all done, and you mentioned projecting your own insecurities. Maybe there's a part of the piece that you're insecure about, you don't think was strong enough or whatever. And by you saying like, hey, let me know how that heals. Let me know if you need a touch up. I got you. And even though that's from a place of insecurity or a place of not knowing any better, you say that to the client thinking you're doing good customer service. Like, you hit me up, I got you. Like, I will see the integrity of your piece through all of time in the future. You go to the ocean and bake it in sand and sun, and it gets fucked up, don't worry about it. Call me. I got you.
Well,
right?
and not even that, but I can't tell you how many times, like, I did a piece years ago, and on that of, like, if it needs a touch-up, hit me up. Only for them to wait years and years for me to get real good and then want to pull that fucking card out and be like, hey, man, can I get that touch-up? Yeah. Like, from fucking 6 years ago.
Right. Right. So here's the shift to make. And this is all about you. So much of you representing you and your business is being the authority, being the expert, literally being the professional. And the more you can get clear on who you are, how you operate, being the professional, being the authority, being the expert, the less your client will try to be that to you. But when we don't know who we are, when we're not walking in complete authority, now how many times then the client all of a sudden wants to prescribe what they think they need from you now.
Right.
Right?
And how long it'll take.
How long it'll take and all of that shit, right? So we got some just little good tips and tricks for you here. This is all around being the authority and doing what I call future pacing with your clients. Now, when we're consulting with our clients, we're doing all kinds of future pacing. When someone's consulting with us, we are already aligning with them, their idea, their vision, future pacing them, meaning talking to them as if this is already a done deal. I am definitely seeing your vision and can take your idea to that next level, i.e., I am definitely your artist, the man for the job. I'm so down for this. This is going to be awesome. This is going to turn out great. I am so honored to get to be a part of the rest of your life. I can't wait to get down on this. Future pacing them, talking to them as if it's already happening. It's already going down. We've got an epic plan. Let's get this scheduled, right? Future pacing. Well, the day of the tattoo, when you're actually doing the tattoo, again, being the authority, knowing who you are and how you operate. Part of being the authority, part of being the expert, not only future pacing, is your ability to predict the future. Right? And we all can do this. You can predict the future when it comes to your client's tattoo in a powerful way to convey that you know exactly what's going on today and weeks from now when you're healed. So instead of, and you were touching on this, we all know what it's like when we're working on a piece tattooing and we're coming to the end of the piece or the end of the session, and we already know that there are areas that could stand to be hit again, but we can't overwork the skin today, right? We always know. Or we always know when we're finishing up a piece that, man, once this heals, I already see where I could go back into it and build it up, make it better. This should be saturated more. These darks should be more, right? Mm-hmm. And obviously, we don't devalue the piece to the client and be like, hey, this is cool, but I could have done better. So once this heals, I want you to come back and I'm just going to re-hit it all for free, right? Thinking you're doing them a solid, but you just devalued it in the moment when it's
your
done.
Your craft, your talents, you've devalued it. And
Yeah.
I mean, like, you're talking about this, and like a great example of this is Y'all Z. If y'all are familiar with him, I think he's on like his 5th bodysuit. And as the old saying goes, art is never finished, it's just abandoned. So it's like future pacing is super important, especially if you give that declaration at the beginning of all this, that tattoos heal weird. If you get a tattoo in a high motion area, elbow, a ditch, an armpit, like it's constantly in motion, so it's going to heal a little rough. That's something anytime I'm finishing a sleeve or doing a sleeve, that's one thing that I go over, even if I've done the very first session on an area that's going to heal just fine. As we keep going in this process, areas down by your wrist, when your hand's always in and out of your pockets, your t-shirt's rubbing against it, I point out these things because that can irritate and affect the healing tattoo. With derm, with no derm, and just a bunch of fucking gunk on it, that, you know, whatever you use, hustle butter, whatever, inkies, all that shit, like there's still high motion areas that can get agitated very easily. Shit, you can have just a teeny piece of fucking dog hair get on a tattoo and that can turn into staph, and it's like, well, how is that my fault now that I have to be the guy that has to work for free to fix your tattoo? Mm-hmm. Things happen. Like all humans, we all have staph under our fingernails and MRSA in our nostrils. So like we have immune systems for reasons, but it's just so unpredictable and volatile of what way it can go for your tattoo to have a rough heal. Yep. But to know all this on the front end and talk about it in in-person consultations and on emails and DMs is part of like what Matt's talking about, like future leading and being the authority.
Yes. And how many times have we all set our future self up and put it in a rough boat? Meaning, how many times you've been on a tattoo? It's session 1. And there's all these things, and you start cutting corners. You're just trying to wrap up today, and you see things you should go ahead and get in right then and there, and you're like, man, fuck it, I'm just going to get the rest of this on, and I'll get that next session. Yeah. Like, kick it down the road to your future self, only for the future to get here real quick, and now I want to beat my own ass. Cause what kind of handoff was this, man? You fucking left me with some bullshit. Now I don't even have a stencil on. At least you had a stencil, you lazy motherfucker, right? I'm bitching my past self out. Mm-hmm. Right. And so that's another part of this discussion is this encompasses how to set your future self up solid, powerfully to win. Right. And even by being the authority and communicating proper expectations for your client. And like what Hip was just touching on is a lot of things we already know right here, sitting here today. just finishing your tattoo, what the future could hold, i.e., I know it's going to need another pass. That red needs like saturated better, but I hit it as much as I could today. We got to let it heal, blah, 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 right? So what's the option? Instead of just being like, yo, if that needs a touch up, let me know. If, like you said, everyone's like, are you saying like, if I want to come back and let you re-hit these whites for free, I can? Everyone's going to say.
Every single time.
Yeah, I think this could use a little bit of, you know, right? And so being the authority, you know that now. We don't have to wait on them to fully heal to see if.
I'm always going to want to fucking darken my darks and lighten my lights.
So it's this simple. To know it now, you are such the authority, such the expert, that you know what the future very well may hold for them. And to simply communicate that, to declare that now, and tell them about your follow-up process. So number one, we do follow-ups. Number two, we put just a flat rate on that follow-up. Now it's contingent upon the piece, meaning a follow-up on a full sleeve is going to take longer and cost more than a follow-up on a little wrist Pinterest tattoo, right?
Yep.
Again, you being the authority, you know the tattoo you're on, you know the difference. But conveying that to your client on the future, so, you know, it just depends on the piece. But you know it because it's your piece. So here's an example. For example, if I was doing a final session, this is session 5 on this sleeve, right? And if I already think it's going to need a follow-up in some areas, I'll just go ahead and tell the client. Oftentimes, this tattoo turned out great. It's absolutely amazing. I'm so honored. I'm so stoked. We're celebrating. But I want this tattoo to be world-class and to keep integrity and stand the test of time. Oftentimes, tattoos will need one final follow-up. And let's say if this is a sleeve, you've already paid a pretty penny for this. So we have a flat rate of just $500 for a follow-up. When you come in for that follow-up, whether it takes 3 hours or 7 hours, your price is the same, just the flat rate of $500 for the follow-up. I'm just picking an arbitrary number. You can decide what your flat rate follow-up is. The difference is I'm telling my client about it today that it very well may be needed. Who decides if it's needed? I do. When the time's right, whether I have the client come back in to look or whether I have them send me pictures. But me being the authority will be the one to prescribe if and what's needed, right? But I'm communicating that with my client right now today as the expert, as the authority. And oftentimes, tattoos will need a follow-up. Here's what it looks like. When yours is healed, I'm going to want to see it, and I will prescribe. I will let you know if I believe your piece needs a follow-up. I want it to stand the test of time forever. And even though you spent a pretty penny, I want this to look great and be world-class forever. This is your arm, but this is my legacy and my name. And I stand behind my work. So if I deem it needs a follow-up, I will be the first to let you know at the flat rate of $500. So once you're healed, let me know. We'll reconnect. What have I done? I have powerfully been the authority. I've future-paced them. I've let them know what could occur. And so guess what happens, folks? If and when that does occur and when they're healing and they look down and now the client sees a few spots that they think could use a follow-up, even though, you know, in their head they're thinking this could use a touch-up, right? And even if they hit me up like, I think you were right, it needs a touch-up, I'll immediately respond back to them with the verbiage of a follow-up. But the good news about it is when that's happening with your client, they are not freaking out. They are not looking at it and hitting you up thinking, bro, I need that. You know what they're thinking now? They're looking at it like,
I need $500.
Yeah. And they're thinking, oh my God, he was right. They're not freaking out. Why? Because you told me this would happen. Man, they do know what they're doing. They are the authority, right? And so they're no longer calling you like, bro, my shit, I need it fixed. You owe me. When can I get that free touch-up? They're hitting you up, you, the expert authority, to say basically, hey, you know, I know, I think you were right. I'm pretty sure you were right, but I'll let you be the judge to prescribe your own deal, and if you thought it was right. But they're hitting you up to go ahead and book or schedule their follow-up, and you don't even have to have the weird conversation about telling them how much it's going to be, because you already told them that. So now when they hit you up for the follow-up, they're not asking for you to work for free. They're not asking for a tee-up. They are honoring you being the expert and authority, telling you were right, and I'm calling now to schedule my follow-up, which I've already been briefed on. It's $500. Boom! You're the authority. You've set your future self up to win. You get to honor and stand behind your own work, but not do it for free and not pay for something that may not even be on you in the first place. But the key is you knew on that day that it's going to need one, or that it very well could need one. You knowing that, being the authority, was able to predict the future and tell your client about it on that day. So when the day came, it's already been handled.
And, you know, if you're anything like me, because I've had clients show me and they're like, yeah, we may need to do a follow-up with this and that. And they'll point out like 2 areas and I see 100 already. That's right. Because all tattoos can always use follow-ups. Even if they heal plush and perfect, and I see it 5 years down the road, I'm going to want to make sure those to darken the darks and to lighten the lights always, which is why I brought up Yazi. You know, each time you see him like getting pieces reworked, if he's either getting them done by a different artist reworked or if he's getting something covered up, you can guarantee, because I know the dude, you know, and he's a fucking solid dude and he respects the shit out of the industry. He is paying whatever. I see that dude fucking not even honoring the follow-up rate and paying a fucking day rate, whatever it may be, to have those pieces reworked. Because he understands that, like, we grow, we get old, the pigment, once it's in our skin and it chills for a little bit, it expands and things start to blur and you get to lose some of the depth and contrast. And, you know, for those more seasoned artists, like if you strip tattooing bare to what it is, it's a craft. There's nothing artistic about it. It's simply knowing how to work the skin with the machine and the needles attached to it. That's all it is. There's nothing artistic about it. The art comes in the design and the concepts and the imagination of the artist that has learned the craft. So like once you get good with your machine and you kind of get in a space where like you can feel the sweet spots and you know when you're getting to that breaking point of overworking skin and moving on, and then getting on a level of saturating good and getting the color in with the least passes as possible. Once you get to that point, you kind of know that your tattoos are going to heal good. You start seeing your coworkers and know if they overworked it or if the lines are trenched. You can see that and kind of anticipate it. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because, you know, as I'm growing and maturing, I'm gaining ground in the craft of tattooing. So it's like nowadays it's rare for something to come back that's just healed like shit. Although there are times, like I just tattooed myself not too long ago. It's on my social media and it healed like shit because I did a couple different things. One, there may have been an area or two that were overworked, but I also did like a weird fucking aftercare that I thought about telling my clients, but it's like, thank God I experimented on myself, because if I would have told this, I would have had a bunch of fucking bullshit coming back in.
You know, everyone's going to want to know what aftercare you're talking about now.
Oh, well, yeah. So basically, like, I always tell people to use Aveeno or any hypoallergenic lotion. And I say lotion because anything petroleum based, clients, for whatever fucking reason, want to glob shitloads of it on, and it hinders the growth of the tattoo, or like can hold infection, or if they got animals, it'll just collect like a fucking magnet for hair. So instead of going through the ritual of explaining like just a teeny bit, like their teeny bit is like a fucking turkey baster full. So I suggest hypoallergenic lotion. And I say lotion because your body absorbs it. So you can't ever put too much on. Well, so boom, I put the derm on. I waited for 24 hours, took it off right before I went to bed, cleaned it real good, let it dry, put the Aveeno on, and then wrapped the derm over top of that, thinking like, yeah, this is solid here. Only for me to wake up in the middle of the night and my leg was on fucking fire, but I was so sleepy. I was like, fuck it, I'm going to let that shit just marinate all night. Went back to sleep, woke up, my shit was red and swollen and sore, and it just went downhill from there.
Yeah.
So that's a big fucking no-no.
Yeah, because you trapped it in. Even though lotion can be good, I think it needs oxygen from the other end.
Correct. It totally fucking does. And you'd think there would be enough oxygen coming in the hole in my head to think that that was a good idea. But, and you know what I'm saying? I was a dumb client. You know, I was experimenting with some shit. So how many times have we seen clients just do the complete most ridiculous fucking shit? And you're wondering and scratching your head like, well, who in the fuck told you to do that?
That's right, because we can't follow our clients home, hold their hand, babysit them, and ask them to quit petting the dog, eating pork rinds and Cheetos, and then scratching their tattoo.
Letting your buddy fucking piss on your arm. Like,
Whatever.
yeah.
You know, we can't do that. And it doesn't matter, really, even, again, we're into the solution. It doesn't even matter whose fault it is or what the cause of the problem is.
Because if you address these in the front end as an authority and be a fortune teller of like, this could happen, that's in your ditch, it's probably going to heal rough, it's nice weather out, I'm sure you're going to be wearing a short sleeve that's going to rub against it, and it's already bendy fucking all the time, so it's high motion, so it might heal rough.
And that's not this isn't a weird thing. This is very common. That's why
par for the course.
You can tell all of your clients these things occur, these things can happen. Therefore, oftentimes most tattoos do need a follow-up, but I'll be the one to decide when it's time. But that's why we're future pacing them, being the authority, letting them know follow-ups are a very common thing. They're needed. Our follow-ups are a flat rate of just this much. So on a sleeve, flat rate of 500. On a smaller piece, you can be flat rate of 300. And it's always good to say whether it takes me an hour or 10 hours, your price is the same. You've already spent a good, pretty penny on this. We want to ensure the integrity so that it stands the test of time, but I will be the one to decide if and when that's needed. What if you're just doing a little small Pinterest jam? What if you're just $100 an hour? Then you can say like, hey, I do follow-ups for $50, whatever. You can pick your price. The importance is being the authority to communicate it today. So in the future, when that day comes, they're going to remember you, that you were right. And they're going to call back gladly to schedule their professional follow-up session with you to ensure the integrity of the piece or to fix any of the 100 reasons why you even needed one.
So, and going back to like the technical application of getting more seasoned in your ability to understand how well you work the skin. So like me, I do a lot of like bigger sessions that are multiple sessions. In that, I get a chance, I call it like mowing the grass. And those of you who are familiar with mowing the fucking grass, when you go down one end and you come back, you're half in new, half in old. So like I schedule a session, right? And if it's in some area that may heal rough, I communicate that with them and let them know you're going to have some rough healing here. This area on the outside of the arm might heal quicker, the skin will fall off, but you may have some scabbage here just because it's a high motion area.
Right.
But we'll address that on the next session. So the next session, I put the next part of the tattoo on. If I got to spend 20 minutes or an hour, like filling in some follow up from the previous session, now I'm like mowing the grass. They're getting their whole other session in. So it's almost in a sense like that, you could put it as like, you know, we're getting two birds with one stone, or, you know, building value is, you know, wow, he's going the extra mile. But even when I get to that final, very last session, I still would like to send them out for 6 to 8 weeks and have them come back in for like a full follow up on everything. Mm-hmm. But I try to be a master at my craft. So a lot of times, like, it's not that big of a session, you know?
And to clarify, being the authority is to own everything that you know and to express everything that you do know that you can promise and deliver on. But so much of being the authority is to be able to share everything that you don't know.
Yeah.
Everything that you can't deliver or promise on, because there's still so many variables, like you said in the beginning, and up to the unknown. And by you being the authority and knowing your craft so well to know all the mysteries that we can't predict. But here's oftentimes commonalities that very well can happen and happen often. And if and when this happens, which we'll be the first to let you know, you already know what it is. We do follow-ups at this rate, right? It's being the authority, setting your future self up to win, and for your clients. The whole thing is valuable. It's never devalued, and it's never that you fucking didn't do something right, you know? It's just part of the process. See, right now, it's still a process, but for some reason along the line, we fucked ourselves in the end of the process because we work real hard and do the tattoos. And then at the end of the process, we say, if it needs a touch-up, let me know, I'll get you for free. Why we decided to fuck ourselves on the back end versus switching to the process that we have now, which is just planting the seed, giving them the true definition of follow-ups, and that you very well could use one, and I'll be the first to let you know if and when you do. That's just the final piece to this process. And if you can own that and know that and educate your client about the process, my God, it's smooth sailing from there. Everybody wins. Everybody's happy. You don't have to go into work and work for free today. You don't have to go in and feel like you got bricks on you and you're dragging ass like you owe somebody something that you fucked up 3 months ago, right? You can show up and do what you do and still get paid something for it and still get to be a blessing and ensure the integrity of your piece. And this is all part of the process. Your clients just need to know that this is how the process rolls, but they can't know that until you know that. Today, we hope we're giving you permission, changing and shifting your perspective on this process, giving you new language to powerfully convey it so that you can adapt this new process and get rid of the old free touch-up way of doing things and step into the new, being the authority, future pacing, the follow-up, kings and queens, right? That alone's life-changing, because if you look back and add up all the times you came into work and did touch-ups, if somehow you were able to quantify that, your time and all of that, by making this shift to now this year doing all paid follow-ups, people are happier, and the bottom line on your personal business could be the difference of $30,000 this year for you. Could be the difference of 2 whole weeks of time that you can buy back for yourself. You know, and that's why we said in the beginning, this might be a little topic to you, but really could be life-changing when it spread over time, how much time you get back and how much money that you get for your time that you used to just give away frivolously.
Why do you think that's such a big thing in the industry, saying free touch-ups?
Well, ultimately, I don't know, because it was around way before you and I came into the game, and it's just one of those things that's been handed down and passed on. And again, Jeff Godway's the one who helped me make this shift. And at the time I was learning from him, I viewed him as an authority.
And yeah, I'm sure fucking 100% of our listeners do as well. So like, what was his exact teaching to you?
Well, it was a decade ago, and I trying to kind of reiterate it, but by now it's got my own spin on it.
Right.
You know, but I love Mr. Godway because he's real transparent, real authentic, you know. And so, yeah, I mean, when he was done with the tattoo, like most of us, he already knew parts of his tattoo that he knows going to need hit again, or that he at least wants to, even if it's to clean up some of the line work. But either they're out of time today, or he can't touch them anymore, whatever the case may be. But he already knew that he needed to bring them back in to do a follow-up. And I don't know if that occurred to him so many times and the verbiage he'd use, because they're celebrating. Like, I love this tattoo. It turned out great. But I want this tattoo to be world class. Almost like, you think this is cool? There's actually one more level. But that level, this needs to heal. You come back for that final level, which is a follow-up session to ensure that it'll be world class forever. And he put some respect and a price on that. It's still him. It's still his time. He even though it's just 10 years ago, he was the dude, and there was cartridges out everywhere. He was the dude that would still make his own needles for that tattoo, and his preference was a 3-liner or 5-liner and an 11 mag. He'd make them every day. You know, again, even to do a follow-up session, he's still making his own needles for it. It's got his time. It's the integrity of his piece. But he would instill in them, future pace them. As amazing as this is, I'm happy, you're happy, but I want this to stand the test of time, be world class. So once it's healed, I'm going to want to see, to ensure my integrity and my legacy, this very well may need a follow-up. And I do follow-ups at the flat rate of this. Boom! It's respected. It's understood. Now, on that framework of thinking, no client ever said to Mr. Godway, no, thank you. I don't want mine to be world class. I'll stay in second place. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Since he's building the value, it's value to them. If you say so, I love this. Mr. Godway, if you're telling me, as amazing as this is, that you're telling me you could actually take it to one more level of amazing, it's just going to take one more follow-up session at the flat rate, I'm in. You let me know. Right? It's beautiful. It's powerful. He's being the authority. He's creating more value, taking it to that final level, but not for free. It's going to take him another day, more of his time, making more needles. Like, why is Godway going to take his client's piece to that final tier at the very last shot of the game and for free and just give that away? Why? That's the last shot of the game. It's part of the process. So I was really grateful that Mr. Godway helped me and Kyle Cotterman make that shift. And I just implemented it that day and I've been doing that for 10 years. Now we're on here today sharing it with you guys. It's a powerful thing. You do the same thing, do you not?
Yeah.
All the time.
I wasn't, I just thought that was
Something
what
like
we were supposed to do, is like free touch-ups,
right.
you know?
That's
Because
right.
I don't know if it's like operating in lack and like thinking they won't come back, or just people pleasing.
And sending people out the door, like, I know you think you're like wrapping it up and acting like you really care, but you're devaluing it and you're planting a seed in their mind that you don't want them to have, which is, hey, thanks for letting me tattoo you today. Let me know if something goes wrong. Let me know. You know, it's almost
It's
like
funny hearing it in hindsight now. It totally is. And
it's almost like if you came to my restaurant and I just served you food.
hey, if
everyone's
you go
done
home and
eating,
get sick.
and now I come around to the table when it's bill time and be like, hey, thanks for eating here. Let me know if any of your stomachs start getting rumbly later. You know, immediately everyone's going to think, why? What's wrong? You know what I'm saying? And same with us. Hey, thanks for letting me tattoo you. Let me know if it gets fucked up. You know, like, you don't even want to plant those seeds in their head to now start looking at it and waiting and looking for something that's going to be wrong.
And you know, this discussion's probably fucking 40 years too late, because you don't even have to impregnate them with those thoughts, because it's so mainstream and talked about constantly, that it's a thing. People just think that, and now we're like fighting upstream.
That's right. That's why it's up to us to educate our clients. But here's the deal with my clients. I'm not trying to educate them for the whole tattoo industry across the board, just in who I am, how I operate. To work with me, you know what I'm saying? We do follow-ups. I do follow-ups. And here's what it looks like. Here's how much it costs.
But
that's just how I roll.
And
right?
you know, like aisle 9 rules like that. You know, I'll I'll fucking tell you where other shops you can go to that are fucking half the price as me,
Yep.
what to look for in a portfolio of the style you're wanting. Even if you're not even coming to me, I'll help you fucking go on the hunt for a fucking good tattoo artist and things to expect and what to look for and what are red flags and stuff. So like, yeah, totally. If you're really going to commit to me and sit in my chair, I'm going to walk you through what this looks like even before the process even starts.
That's right.
Because
so they know what they're signing up for.
man, not only that, but I need to know what the fuck I'm signing up for. Like, you know, the artist, yeah, I want to be comfortable. Like, this is on me forever. I totally fucking get it. I deal with doing this day in and day out. But in order for my artwork to look good and to feel good and me enjoy my time with you, I got to be at peace and trust too.
That's right. And that clarity comes in clear communication, right?
Man.
So they know what they're signing up for. They know who you are and how you operate, not just your portfolio, which made them hit you up, but now they're meeting you in the consult and you're telling them about the whole process, even after the final session, that the last stage of it, after we were calling this piece done, we just laid in all the whites and everything, we're doing a photo shoot and celebrating. Then we educate them about this thing called follow-ups and how often they occur and are needed, and it's a flat rate, and we'll let you know. Boom, now they know the whole deal. So now if they say, if they're good, we shall proceed. You're a right fit, let's work together. Again, you were the authority out the gate. How were you that? Because you knew who you were and how you operate so well that you were simply able to powerfully convey that to the client. So they actually get a real vote in what they're and who they're signing up for to work with, right? Mm-hmm. Once you get that clarity on the front end, my God, it weeds out so much bullshit and gray areas and open loops throughout the whole process. Definitely prevents weirdness on the back end. It prevents like unclear expectations, and now you got a mess on the back end. We make it so Trump tight on the front end.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, man. Because you are the author of your business. You are the author of your life. And you can't expect the world to just know how it's supposed to go. And when we leave that gray area, a lot of people will think they know how it's supposed to go, and it couldn't be further from the truth of how it's really going to go with you, right? Weed out all that gray area and let them know on the front end. But that's why it's important for you to know, for you to decide who the fuck you are, how you operate, and what does it look like. And do you know it so well that you can powerfully and clearly convey that to anyone about any piece, any time? Now we're getting somewhere, right? The rest is just a sifting game. You can't tattoo the whole world. You don't need everybody. You just need the right somebodies. Who's that? Those who are a right fit with you. Those who see you, appreciate you, like your work, and are down for your rates, who you are, how you operate, what a day working with you looks like, all of that. The more you can clearly convey that on the front end and who and what they're signing up for, the better. And all along, from day one, you were the authority. And you knew how it's going to go down, how we're going to start, and you were able to make predictions about the whole process, i.e. the future. So all along the way, when those things pop up and happen, your client's not freaking out. They're actually more impressed. My artist told me this would happen. I knew it. He told me. She told me that. So I'm going to call up my expert artists who predict the future because it's finally here and see where we're going from here, right? It's that simple, but that little shift is a game changer. Even for your energy, like put money aside, just your time management and your energy. I mean, I don't know, but I remember the dudes that I used to know, like, that would set up days worth of tee-ups. Most of them weren't like stoked. Like, oh yeah, man, I got a bunch of touch-ups today, man. And most of them was on pieces that they weren't in love with to begin with. I'm touching up some bullshit of some little piece that they weren't even into to begin with, right? Disempowered from day one. Mm-hmm. We're here to help you take your power back. We're here to help you choose the type of artist you want to be what that looks like and how you operate, and to give you the permission to step into being that. And as you be that, watch God, source the universe, send you the right people. The rest of it is a sifting process. Again, you don't need everybody, you just need the right somebodies. And sifting through to attract the right people. See, the clearer you get on who you are and how you operate will immediately start to attract the people you're meant to serve, while simultaneously will start to repel the ones you're not meant to serve. And like you were saying, this is a two-way street. Yes, you want the client to be happy and down that they're in your chair working with you, but you too deserve to be working with someone on a piece that lights you up too, right? Mm-hmm. So that you're actually into this, so that you're in the game. God forbid you're even enjoying work today. Wow, there's a fucking thought, right? What would it look like if you could show up to work every day with more joy and have more fun than you ever have before? See, when you actually know who you are and are the authority and can powerfully educate and convey to your clients, now we can have rec sessions. Now we can dick off and have fun because we actually got a strong foundation to play off of.
You know, like looking back at just this journey I've gone on being a tattooer, it's just funny hearing us talk about, like, imagine showing up to work and enjoying it. Because, yeah, I've grown a lot, and I can look back and see, like, man, I can't even believe I was like that, or I did that, or, man, that was a painful situation to grow through. But I can honestly say all those infinity loops, all those times I didn't communicate, I fucking loved it all. Yeah. All that working in weird shops were fucking crazy. Strippers was fucking going nuts, and, like, it was still fucking amazing. So like, I'm just thinking of the listener that's like experiencing this and like basically where I was at one point, and they're listening to this and they're like, wait a minute, it can get even better than this?
Oh, yeah.
Like, fuck yeah, it can.
Way better.
And where I'm at, I'm going to be talking to myself fucking 5 years from now.
Yeah.
And looking back and being like, damn, it even got better than that.
Yeah. Love that.
Because you know what I write about today and who I want to be in 5 years, when I get there, I'm fucking up a cliche saying I seen on fucking social media. So
that's okay. Take it on home.
Well, basically, like, hell yeah. When you get there, I don't know. Fuck, I don't know. Edit, cut it.
You dropping some fire on
it was some shit like the person you wrote about being, or you be grateful for where you're at today because you wrote about being here 5 years ago, or wanted to be here 5 years ago, or something along those lines.
Well, and that's definitely true for you.
Yeah. It's just a thing to like stay in gratitude of where you're at, because
come on, man,
dude, I remember when I first started working with you, like dreaming of like just doing like these certain pieces, and then I would get to those pieces and be doing them and forget that I used to dream about doing them and be caught up in like some kind of like stupid scandalous bullshit that like wasn't even relevant, because I was losing track of the gratitude of like, remember when you used to just dream of being this person? Now you're this person, and now you're fucking, bitching about fucking insignificant minor shit that doesn't have any consequence over what you're at or where you're going. So it's like the problems that I have today, in 5 years from now, I'm going to have a whole new set of problems and even grow more and be bigger and greater and better a version of myself.
Huge.
And I have to remember that. So this is a mental note to myself 5 years from now. Don't sweat the petty shit and don't pet the sweaty shit, man.
And even the problems that you have today at one point were luxury stretches you dreamt to have.
Oh God, yeah.
I remember, early on when I met you, you was working on like getting enough money to pay your phone bill, and then you were saying, "Man, what a luxury stress though that I have a phone."
I remember wanting to just have a fucking phone.
Yeah, and you were grateful because I met you when you had one. Now you're trying to get the money to pay for it. But
Right.
You were fucking grateful for that journey that you had one and didn't even know exactly how you were going to come up with the money to pay the bill this month, but it would always happen, but I just remember even then, like, those were some of your problems then, right?
Man, I can remember like seeing these new machines come out and like wanting to get one, but I couldn't make fucking $600 shake.
Yeah.
And now it's like, fuck, dude, since I bought 7 fucking Numas, and gifted them away,
Yeah.
or fucking sold them and just like tried a whole spectrum and variety of them. And I'm starting to hone in the ones I like. But I remember like just getting one, I just want to fucking buy a Hawk Spirit or a Thunder. But man, that's fucking worlds away to be able to scrounge up, fucking $600-700 to afford that. So yeah,
Dude, if we're going to get vulnerable and share like that, I had a powerful moment like that this morning laying in bed with Katie, and it was about 6 a.m.
Uh-huh.
Last night was TBM, and she was telling me, Brenner, my mentor, guys, one of the legends. He's been on the show twice. Like I remember like being at Hell City and Nico coming up and fanboying Brenner, because Brenner was like, all of you who look up to the Nicos of the world look up to the Brenners of the world. He too is my mentor. He was here in the studio last night in my house. He went upstairs to talk to Katie, and he's a student in TBM. My own mentors taking TBM. Crazy, right? Such a fucking honor. And a lot of things I teach today, I learned from him. And so I'm like looking at him like, man, took what you taught me, I've applied it and made it my own for the past decade, and now I'm teaching it to others. I hope to make you proud, right? And his mind's been blown of what I've been able to take the things he taught me to just levels, right? Huge honor. But anyways, he went upstairs and he was talking to Katie, and he was saying like when he joined TBM, because Carlton took TBM, 2 classes ago, he admitted to my wife, even though he signed up and his heart was in the right place, but he was also curious, like, what are they really doing here? And is it even valuable? Whatever. But he's paying the money, the ticket price to get in to find out. But it wasn't all cynical, like, I'm going to go see if he's the real deal or not. But there was a part of him that was curious, but I feel like he was hopeful, but still didn't know, to the point where he called Carlton and asked Carlton. He's like, yo, you took TBM? And Carlton is like, yeah. And you know what Carlton told him?
What?
The same deal that Carlton almost, because since we're podcasting together and stuff, he wanted to make sure I was the real deal. And he thought I was, but Carlton paid thousands of dollars to join and to learn, but really to see if I was fucking the real deal or not. Which part of me is like, you didn't know that yet? But he needed a final confirmation, thinking that maybe I am fake, maybe I am not the real deal. He's going to take TBM to find out that I'm not. And then Carlton told Brenner, he was like, man, I thought Matt was the one, but actually I was wrong. I was the one. And he told Brenner, man, it fucking changed my life. And he told Brenner, dude, just go ahead and go for it, And so then Brenner signed up, and it's already, by week, I think 2, Brenner was like, I've already gotten my investment, but this has already impacted my whole life. Just TBM's a 12-week program. By week 2, Brenner's like, done deal. This is the real fucking deal. Game over, right? Anyhow, over 10 years ago, Katie was like the woman of my dreams that I fought so hard to get her to even like me, right? I mean, I was on pins and needles. This girl's the one, right? She was the woman of my dreams 10 years ago. And Brian Brenner and Joshua Carlton were 2 badasses that I just hoped one day I could not only be friends with, but even maybe hopefully one day they'll think I'm cool. And I had an epiphany, and here I am in this moment, this morning, laying in bed next to the woman of my dreams that I was scared and dreamt about. Well, it worked out. She married me, and she's sitting there telling me about the 2 great legends that I just wanted to rub shoulders with, that are both talking to each other because they both took my class and are telling each other it
How
changed
cool
their
you are.
life. You know? And it was just such a measuring stick for me, like, oh my God. And that was one of those moments I had to stop, allow myself to receive and bask in it, talk about dreams coming true. Way fucking cooler than what I could have planned it. Like 10 years ago, I just hoped she would date me and that I would be cool with those two guys. I would have never dreamt in a million years she's going to fall head over heels in love with me. We're going to get married, have 3 kids, and these 2 dudes that I want to be down with are going to be at my house and students of mine and both think I'm cool. Like, right? What a fucking blessing. And it's all because I don't do touch-ups. I'm just kidding.
But that's a part.
Let's bring it back around.
That's a part of it. Because just even taking that little teeny tiny fucking step right now and applying it over a long period of time grows you into something you just lost dreams of waking. You know, you don't know what you're going to become with that.
Man, dude. And so I just had to hop on that gratitude train with you because that just happened to me this morning. And I love that about you, Hip. No matter what we got going on, you can stop and be in the attitude of gratitude, no matter what. I remember when you're like, man, I remember when it would be cool to have a phone. I remember I couldn't even come up with $600 for a machine, and today I own 7+ and give them away, right? How blessed and lucky are we? And I'm the same, man. So thank you for awakening that in us. Hopefully, while we're sharing this gratitude, all of you guys can stop and pause and be like, you know what? Hip's right. Well, the problems I got today at one point, I would have just done anything to be where I'm at today, right? And so that's beautiful. Growing from level to level. And I like it. 5 years from now, we're going to look back on this episode and be like, man, it got better.
Mm-hmm.
Keeps getting better. But your relationships with every tattoo you're doing, know who you are, how you operate. Powerfully and effortlessly convey that. Educate your client. Be the authority. Future pace them. Predict what's going to go down. At least predict what could happen and that you've got the solution. And you can tell them the solution now so that when it comes, you're the authority that predicted it. They'll be calling you to book their follow-up session. And you'll never have to work for free again. And you won't ever have to owe nobody shit. And definitely not be anybody's bitch. Because you set your future self up powerfully and put some respect on it as the authority versus the insecure dude. It's like, let me know if your tummy rumbles after that sandwich. Right? Huge difference. Not to beat a dead horse, but I feel like we drove that one into the ground. Let us know your thoughts and your comments. Is this even a new thing to you? Or have you already been down because you know Mr. Goldway too? Right? Let us know if you do something different than what we even have presented today. Even though we're students, we're always open. If you've got a better way, if you've got a perception that this conversation sparked that we didn't even touch on, that you think we need to hear, please let us know. And if it's really that profound, watch us do another episode and shout you out for letting us know. Part 2 of this, we were just talking about follow-ups until so-and-so wrote us and blew our minds, right? Whatever the case may be, we love hearing your feedback every single week. Prayers and blessings for our brother Joshua Carlton. My dude Pih. Tatam here. Mike Cierno-Yatsky doing the beats for us in the background. This has been another episode of the Tattoo Guardians podcast show. We love you. We'll see you next week.